Part 3 of exposing a Pisces energy trying to destiny swap with me entirely at my expense, entirely against my consent. I haven't gotten any advice from anyone. There's no reconciliation happening between me and any Pisces, and I never consented at all to anyone portraying otherwise from what I'm exposing here. What is going on? What you need to know, what you need to hear. So they have a tendency to push away all their problems until they get so severe they need to resort to divination abuse in order to try to further push back actually having to behave decently in life. Then they go to divination and approach it with this extremely unwise approach, like what they hear is something they're very inclined to basically immediately see as a fact, or something they proceed according to with massive confidence they don't really deeply reflect on, basically taking it at surface value to a large, if not complete extent, simply because they heard it. They probably also generally approach life and interaction with others as a whole in a manner where they just want to hear them say certain things so they can go off and do whatever, just knowing they intend to try to throw around blame later on and bring up having heard certain things from people as an excuse to justify whatever behavior they did based on simply hearing it. Somebody's gonna come in with an apology to you. This could be an air, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. So they've been hiding that they should be coming and apologizing about something to me by egregiously, blatantly misrepresenting things as if they're certain or have good reason to be certain that I'm about to go apologize about something to them, when I in reality have absolutely no intention to do so, and they in reality have absolutely no, even remotely adequate reason to believe otherwise. They've been egregiously divination abusing to utmost maliciously sabotage my connection with air signs, so Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius individuals, and leave us feeling like we owe each other apologies or should be apologizing to each other somehow or something like that, when we know we shouldn't. Since they're a Pisces, or at the very least egregiously divination abusing to pretend to be a Pisces, they've intentionally endeavored to spiritually separate themselves from the mess of trying to force apologies where they shouldn't happen among me and other air signs at all in my energy. They recently maybe got some good advice. So they've been trying to cause confusion about whether or not they've recently got some good advice. And they hide that by egregiously misrepresenting me as if I might have recently got good advice, while they in reality know they have absolutely no even remotely adequate reason to believe that's even possibly true. I most certainly have not gotten any advice from anyone recently, nor have I been looking for it. And I don't know or care who they're claiming it is or might be coming from. They took some constructive criticism from somebody, and this is something that's gonna pay off for you. So they've been trying to intimidate me with some kind of coercive control they've been hoping to so egregiously divination abuse they managed to terrorize my life with endlessly somehow. They've been trying to frame it as if I received and accepted constructive criticism, if they even succeeded at all in actually affecting me through their attempts at it, which they most likely largely, if not entirely, have not. In most, if not all cases, they might have tried. And they've definitely been hoping to gain some kind of really unfair advantage over me and get some kind of big payout or benefit for themselves if I were to ever accept that constructive criticism they've been trying to send towards me. This is also the return of stolen things. So they even go as far as to so egregiously misrepresent whatever they're hoping to receive from having me accept that abusive, constructive criticism as if it would be me somehow returning to them something that was stolen from them. Probably even often something they're claiming I myself stole from them. It might also be something that someone else already stole from me that they're now trying to steal from that person by misrepresenting things as if they deserve it instead of that other person, or maybe as if they're going to give it back to me after they get it, while in reality, they're trying to steal whatever it is from me, and they have absolutely no actual desire and or intent to ever give it back to me, and they're fully aware of that. There was a lot of deception, trickery, falsities, so they've been downplaying the extent of deception, trickery, and falsities that have been occurring and getting purported around my existence, especially in relation to my connection with them, until it utmost benefits them to start exposing it to whatever extent they strategically, selfishly want to expose. And they've probably been going around running their mouth and crying victim as if they've been blindsided by me, as if it's indicative of me being fake and manipulative and malicious. In reality, they're trying to hide their own fakeness, manipulation, and malice towards me and possibly also others. There was hidden illegal shit going on. So they've intentionally hidden, knowing that I've been getting subjected to illegal things happening to me that have been maliciously hidden from me, which they're most likely, at least to some extent, completely voluntarily involved in. And they're probably trying to hide it by making it look like I was aware of those illegal things happening all along, as if I was the one voluntarily involved somehow and or intentionally hiding it from them. Indirect action. This is a warning against that, okay? So, they're the type that's so extremely inclined to take indirect action, which sounds like a combination of divination abuse and generally trying to manipulate others with gossip and even maybe blatant lies and deception, that they're desperately dependent on validation from others in order to attempt to determine if they should or shouldn't utilize their usual tactics in every situation they find themselves in. They might also be trying to act like, since they've somehow been warned against it now in how they deal with me, that suddenly means they're actually going to honor that warning and it would actually deter them, as if to simply have the real fear of being caught means they must be telling the truth this time. In reality, even very real fear of being caught isn't anywhere even close to a real deterrent for someone like them. This person was unreliable. There was a lot of lies and scams. So they definitely are heavy on the egregious misrepresentations of me, as if I'm this extremely manipulative, deceptive, malicious fraud, the type to scam others in order to hide that they're in reality like that. And they do it especially to try to frame me as unreliable, to hide their own unreliability. Immaturity. There could have been an age gap. So they try to cause confusion around if there's an age gap between us and how large exactly it is. That might be something they're doing related to being spiritually and or physically aged. And they do it to try to discredit my maturity in general because they're trying to hide their own general immaturity they're trying to project onto me. They might even go as far as attempting to misrepresent me as the type inclined to pretend to be a different age than I really am, physically and or spiritually, in their efforts to further attempt to present some kind of evidence or something to try to justify their accusations of me being immature. They gave you a lot of falsehoods, flattery, inconsistence, and they weren't telling the whole truth about everything. So they've been egregiously misrepresenting me as if I showered them with flattery and or was intentionally, strategically inconsistent with flattering them or making them feel good in general. And they've been doing it to attempt to further reinforce evidence for their narratives that I've been intentionally, maliciously withholding information from them that I shouldn't be and or deceiving them somehow. Because they're trying to hide that they've done those things to me that way. They're probably trying hard to make the inconsistencies in their narratives about me look like it's all my fault, and also trying to make any flattering statements I might ever make to anyone look fake or as if it's done with ulterior motives that in reality don't exist at all and never have and never would. This person really had a lack of reality, to be honest. So they've really been trying to hammer hard on painting me as someone with severe mental illness. They've been trying to make me seem more out of touch with reality and schizo the more I've proven I'm the complete opposite and actually see reality very clearly. Because they've been that severely desperate to hide their own mental illness that they've been trying to inflict onto me so they can selfishly gain entirely at my expense, entirely against my consent. They might come forward with a social offer, maybe want to take you out. So they've really made it a habit to intentionally, maliciously cause confusion around if I might approach them with some kind of offer, especially around some kind of socializing. They've been trying to block others from reaching out to me by constantly making it seem like they're about to, so others shouldn't. For reasons they intentionally, maliciously try to keep completely hidden from me. And they've also been trying to make it seem like I'm interested in some kind of serious romantic connection with them, while they've always in reality known I haven't at all, and they've never actually had any, even remotely, adequate reason to believe otherwise. They've been creating egregiously false narratives to try to force me in that direction with utmost malice, knowingly, entirely at my expense, entirely against my consent, while sabotaging my efforts to connect in any capacity, to any extent, for any reason, with those I actually want to connect with at all. They're open to suggestions on what to do. This is a new opportunity they're offering. So they've in reality been completely closed off to actually receiving any suggestions or advice on what to do from me. And they've been trying to hide it by making it seem like it makes sense to believe I am, should, and or would be open to suggestions or some kind of advice on what to do around matters that in reality they know fully that I am not, should not, and would not be at all open to such from them in relation to. They're trying to steal new opportunities from me by egregiously misrepresenting me as if to be trying to give them new opportunities, while they in reality know I'm not at all, and I shouldn't have to, and don't actually need to either. They've probably also been trying to block me from even ever getting any kind of advice or suggestions from others that might actually be at all helpful to me. This could also mean, like, you could have a new lover in the picture already. Life is all about new experiences, okay? So, they even try to cause confusion around the reality of advice, suggestions, and opportunities that should be coming towards me in my life so egregiously that they intentionally, utmost maliciously exploit, sabotaging, and blocking anything good from ever coming into my life in all those aspects, so they can also possibly try to bring new lovers into their lives entirely at my expense, entirely against my consent. And they try to make me seem like I need advice, suggestions, and opportunities that I in reality don't at all, because they're desperate to paint me as the one potentially exploiting them, and maybe even others like that, to be in a romantic relationship with someone new. And they've been trying to leave me to deal with all that karmic mess through their desperately seeking others' validation and input around if they should embrace new experiences in general in life, as if it's some divine life purpose of theirs or something like that, when really it's just an extension of their toxic cycles. There's some seduction going on. So, they've also been vaguely trying to cause chaos and confusion around what exactly me and them might be doing that might actually be intended as some kind of seduction towards someone. While they either know whatever they're claiming is seduction isn't, and or they couldn't care less what the truth is about it in that aspect. It's a blatantly, egregiously deceptive and pretty much certainly extremely malicious vibe. You're trusting your intuition. So they're heavily dependent on external feedback as some kind of indication of even a sense of what their intuition is supposed to be indicating to them. They're not actually in tune with their intuition properly at all. And they're trying to completely steal my intuition, entirely without my knowledge, entirely at my expense, entirely against my consent, in order to guide their next steps they already know they're maliciously plotting against me with. There could be a proposal too. This new person could be the one that you propose, or that you end up with, or it could be this old person. So they're definitely trying to egregiously misrepresent me as having actually consented to some kind of serious romantic dynamic with them that I in reality most certainly do not, never have, and never will consent to at all. It seems they also probably have a tendency to conflate them proposing marriage to someone with simply somehow ending up with some kind of supposedly romantic connection with them in a permanent or long-term capacity. And they also probably even use somehow framing themselves as potentially proposing marriage or seeing serious long-term potential with a possible new partner in order to intentionally cause chaos and confusion around the reality of their connection with people they've had in their lives that they completely falsely portray themselves as having some kind of existing serious romantic dynamic with to others. Again, extremely maliciously. Be careful. Be tolerant, okay? Stay balanced. Equal give and take, okay? Compromise. Compatibility. There's a compatibility here. So, they have a serious tendency to egregiously misrepresent their tendencies to be exceedingly careless, intolerant, unbalanced, unfair, uncompromising, and incompatible with others. They try very hard to project all those qualities onto me, even when they're literally non-existent. They also likely desperately seek others' validation for coming off tolerant and fair, probably to hide it all. Among those things, they might also especially egregiously misrepresent their compatibility, or rather, I should say, absolute lack thereof, with me, in probably just about every aspect. This is peaceful. This is also reconciliation. So they've in reality fully knowingly, intentionally, and utmost maliciously been behaving in the least peaceful manner possible in their connection with me. And they've in reality fully knowingly, intentionally, and utmost maliciously been behaving in a manner that's the absolute least conducive of there ever being any real reconciliation even possible between us, while they've been trying to portray it as the complete opposite and making me seem like I've been doing all kinds of malicious, deceptive, unhinged bullshit to them if I don't embrace their extremely screwed up, shady approach towards me in the most peaceful manner, accepting of whatever reconciliation they're trying to force upon me. They probably also intentionally, strategically, utmost maliciously hide their deception in one of those areas with their deception in the other. This person's feeling overstrained, like they're craving you, okay? So they've been egregiously misrepresenting any moments where I've been or seemed overly strained, as if it's because I'm secretly craving having them in my life, for reasons that are either intentionally left vague or that are just blatantly, completely falsified, knowingly, intentionally, and utmost maliciously, while they in reality either knew fully that that's not at all the case, and or they couldn't care less what the truth is in that aspect. They also probably desperately seek others' validation in order to attempt to determine if their manipulation and deception in this aspect seems believable. There was maybe an overreaction the last time that you guys talked and mingled and whatever, and it was maybe too much. So they've been trying to cause confusion about if there was some kind of overreaction the last time we interacted, while they in reality know there wasn't at all. And they've been trying to cause confusion about if it's just been overwhelming me or somehow too much, and that's why I'm behaving how I am towards them or in general, while they in reality know that isn't the case at all. This person's being impatient, okay? They're coming in. They're getting inconsistent and hesitant too because they're not coming in. But look, you got wishes coming true. So they desperately seek others' validation to attempt to determine if their misrepresentations that I'm being impatient currently are believable. They use hoping for and seeing any kind of evidence they believe confirms their suspicions. They've attacked me enough to leave me so restless I reach out to them as something that comforts them and serves as confirmation they should keep doing what they're doing. At the same time, they know that me actually reaching out to them at all would be only increasingly inconsistent with who they've been trying so hard to portray me as being, and they try really hard to hide that. And they also intentionally try to make me seem like I'm a hesitant, anxious, nervous wreck in general because of the inconsistency they're trying to portray me as having, even if I were to reach out to them, which they further constantly use to try to make me seem inconsistent no matter what I do. They intentionally, utmost maliciously try to set everything up for themselves so no matter what I do, they have their own wishes coming true, completely at the expense of my wishes ever coming true. Fully, knowingly, entirely against my consent. There was supposed to be a part 2 to that reading as well, which didn't come into my energy. So all this stuff was again them trying to exploit my energy to bring together a plot which they intend to execute or already executed without my energy. This massive jackass really needs to stop trying to abuse me into whatever situation they're hallucinating that I'm going to suddenly end up in, where I start believing I've been the problem all along in the connection, and I need to come practically begging them for forgiveness and advice and reconnecting with them somehow or something like that. It's never happening. Absolutely not.